Transform me, transform me. Yeah, transform me, transform me.
Hello, beautiful family, and welcome back to Root to Rise. If you are new here, I am Najee K-Bond, your host, and if you haven't yet listened to part 1, please pause this episode and go back, because in that episode we exposed the deception behind modern spirituality, from universe worship to ancestral reverence, and we talked about how the enemy works through these systems to blur truth and discredit Jesus. But today, we are flipping the script, y'all. Today, we prove the undeniable. We answer the question, why is Jesus the only truth? Why his name carries so much power? Why the Bible is the only spiritual text that holds up historically, prophetically, spiritually, and scientifically? And why people work so hard to say Jesus isn't real, when the fact of his existence is not just belief, it's evidence. So let's start with what skeptics might say. They say Jesus was a made-up figure, or that the Bible was just written by men, or that it's all religious propaganda. But here is the truth, and it's backed by historians, not just believers. First thing, Jesus is one of the most historically documented figures of the ancient world. There are over 58,000 ancient Greek manuscripts of the New Testament. Compare that to Homer's Iliad, which is only 643 copies, or Julius Caesar's Gallic Wars, which is just 10 copies. Yet no one questions their existence. Secondly, non-Christian historians confirmed that Jesus lived. Tacitus, who was a Roman historian who also hated Christians, by the way, wrote in AD 116, Christus suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of Pontius Pilate, or Pilate. Some people pronounce that differently. Another historian, Josephus, wrote, Now there was about this time Jesus, a wise man, for he was one who wrought surprising feats, which means that he did miracles. So even secular records confirm that Jesus lived. He performed miracles. He was crucified, and his followers claimed that he rose, and they died to defend that. Now let's address something real quick. That the Bible is just a book written by men. Yes, men physically wrote it. But so do court reporters. That doesn't mean that they're the author. God is the author of the Bible. In 2 Timothy 3:16, it says, All scripture is God-breathed and useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training in righteousness. And here is what makes the Bible miraculous. There are 66 books with 40 different authors, from kings to shepherds to prophets to fishermen. It spans over 1,500 years, yet it has one unified message, and that is the redemptive love of God through Christ. None of the authors lived in the same region or time period, and some of them didn't even know each other at all. Yet they all describe the same God, the same Messiah, and the same prophecies fulfilled across generations. That is not a coincidence, y'all. That is divine orchestration. The Bible predicted Jesus hundreds of years before he was born. Born of a virgin, from Isaiah 7:14, in Bethlehem, from Micah 5:2, pierced hands and feet in Psalm 22, No broken bones in Psalms 34 and 20, and betrayed for 30 silver coins in Zechariah 11 and 12. And Jesus fulfilled each one of those prophecies. And here's what's so wild to me. The harder people try to prove that Jesus isn't real, the more they prove he must be. And why? Because no one works this hard to disprove a myth. Nobody writes books to disprove unicorns or Zeus or Thor. But Jesus, he is attacked in universities, mocked in Hollywood, censored on platforms, and ridiculed all over the internet. Why? Because if Jesus is real, then everything changes. It means we are accountable. It means truth isn't relative. It means you cannot be your own God. And the enemy knows if you discover who Jesus really is, you'll never go back to idols again. And that's why there's confusion around who we are. The world says we're just vibrations, we come from stardust, or we're divine on our own. But Genesis 1 and 27 says, God created man in his own image. You were made by God, for God, and you will never know who you are until you know whose you are. Now, let me say this clearly. Yes, spiritual things are real. Yes, some of them work. But working does not mean it is from God. Witchcraft works. Divination works. Ancestral rituals can manifest things, but the Bible calls them detestable because they bypass God's authority. If you ask a demon, are you a demon, and it says no, you've already been deceived. And for those of you who say, I talk to my ancestors, but I still love God, like, I hear your heart. I really do. And I understand wanting to stay connected to your ancestors. But the Bible draws the line. Leviticus 19 and 31 says, do not turn to mediums or necromancers. Do not seek them out, and so make yourselves unclean by them. I am the Lord your God. You do not need dead relatives. You do not need burning sage. You do not need moon cycles. You need Jesus. Every spiritual path that is not submitted to him is a path of rebellion, even if it looks like light. If you have been searching, if you have dabbled in everything, if you've tried religion, energy, ancestors, and the universe, and you are still empty, if you're still searching for answers, it's because your spirit is longing for its creator. Jesus isn't one of many paths. He is the only door. And he is not just a truth, he is the truth. So here's what I want to challenge you with to do this week. I want you to invite Jesus in fully, even if it's scary. Say, Jesus, I want you. If you are real, I need you to show me. And remove what you know isn't him. So the crystals, the spell books, the horoscopes, the tarot cards, spiritual guides, lay them down. And I want you to read John 14 this week and let Jesus introduce himself in his own words. And if this hits your spirit, I want you to share this episode. There are so many people searching for truth in all the wrong places, and this could be their rescue. I'm going to end the episode here, but I will see you guys next week. You guys can leave me a comment. You can send me a DM if you want to talk further about it. And even if you want a prayer, just go ahead and message me on the Root to Rise Pod on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to pray for you. I'll be more than happy to help you get closer to truth. But until then, you guys, I'll see you guys next week. Love you. Bye.
Transform me, transform me. Yeah, transform me, transform me.